All right. Welcome to another episode of Jambo.
Jam buds.
So, this episode is going to be about Miss Madam Red's true crime
It's gonna be about me.
podcast and why she loves it, what got her into it. We're going to learn all the things
All
about
the things.
what inspired this, what started this, what fills you with the drive for this. So I'm going to
So,
let her take it away, and then I'm going to just interject with some questions here and there to get it going because this is all about her. So, floor is yours.
yay. All right. So, I have been into criminal justice and the true crime aspect since I was in high school. My senior project actually was to be a homicide detective. Um, that has since changed because I don't want to be a police officer. Uh, but
ACAB.
uh, so I don't want to do that. But then I wanted to do crime scene. I thought crime scene investigation was a really cool aspect. However, they don't get paid a lot. They get paid sub $40,000. So like I make more money than a crime scene investigator does. So I couldn't logically explain to
Justify
myself
that,
why,
right?
right, justify why I'm putting myself in debt if I can just make more money being not traumatized and not seeing dead bodies and collecting evidence and making sure that that evidence is precise and on point, because if anything gets in it, if any contamination happens,
Yeah.
that case is thrown away, and then literally you let go whoever was the fucking suspect or the criminal. So
Hmm.
not that I couldn't handle it. It was just not for that amount of money. If you gave me a good amount of money, like if I did forensic science, I would get much more money, but I don't know if I wanted to go that route. So I didn't want to justify, or I couldn't justify becoming a crime scene investigator just off of that. So then I
Right.
switched to the legal aspect. I thought maybe being a paralegal for a criminal law firm would be cool. Right now, I work for an injury law firm. So if I can just become a paralegal there and then just continue my education
Steps in the
as
doors. Steps in the
steps in
doors.
the doors, steps in the doors. So you basically want to, I don't know. So crime has, well, criminal justice in general has always been something that I've really, I don't know, I guess police officers back in the day saved my life. They're the ones who put me into foster care. They identified the situation that I was going through, and then I was saved by a police officer, a female police officer. And then when I got taken into foster care, um, I had a child advocate and I looked up to her, and her name was also Jennifer. Her name was Jennifer A. And then when she got married, it became Jennifer L. And my name was Jennifer A. And when I got adopted, it became Jennifer L. So like, I just was like, I want to look up to her. And she was a lawyer. And I was just like, she is the most amazing, caring person. And I think that really drove me to want to go towards criminal justice and just grow. So, to me, I just wanted to give voices to victims that have been killed, they've been murdered, they've had their voice taken away from them. And a lot of times when we talk about heinous crimes or very famous crimes, Brian Koberger, instead of knowing the Idaho Four's name and all of them and listing each and every victim, you know who Brian Koberger is, you know who Jeffrey Dahmer is, you know who John Wayne Gacy is, you know who Ted Bundy is.
Right.
It's like, but you don't know any of their
Right.
victims,
The
not
criminals are the
unless,
ones whose names are plastered everywhere, and then the victims are just
right.
victims. They're not like
The
they're not.
only time I would say that you learned that a victim's name, I've seen in the research that I've done, is it if it's a missing white woman, typically you then know their name, like Laci Peterson, Gabby Petito, um, and even Casey Anthony's daughter.
Right.
those names of those victims because they became a global sensation. Like everybody was like, where is this person? So that tends to unfortunately be the
It
trend,
does,
is
because
when
there's even been times where similar cases are happening, and they're like, "Oh, we're looking for this." And obviously, the victim is still a victim, so it's not like I'm blaming them.
right,
But then you have a little black girl missing too, and then there's no attention to it whatsoever, and it's like children, well,
right.
children, people missing, killed, kidnapped, whatever, they're still victims. You shouldn't be
Like, do you
preferencing
remember
like the preferential
Natalie
treatment for
Holloway?
what happened.
I said, do you remember Natalie Holloway? Do you remember
Yeah,
how crazy that was in the early 2000s? Like, we were like, what the fuck? And I was young as shit. And I just remember everyone losing their fucking minds about Natalie Holloway. Like, that's, it's crazy that we know those people, we know their names, it's disheartening that none of the black community, none of people of color get any, especially indigenous people.
I was
Indigenous
just about to
people,
say, oh my god, and don't even get me started on how many indigenous people go missing that they don't even blink an eye for.
right, especially indigenous women and teenage girls, they're going missing. They're Nobody is looking into it. They don't want to touch it. It's just like, I don't understand. Like,
The
this
systemic
is
racism
stolen
runs deep,
land.
and people tend to
Right,
try to say it doesn't exist, even with evidence like this right in front of it. If you are not white, you're not going to get front page news if something happens to you. It's a simple fact.
right,
It's an objective truth. We have tons of evidence of it. And okay, so there's an outlier that happens. And we have a front page news person that's missing or murdered that isn't a white person. That's not the norm. That's the
right,
outlier. So we use that's what they call like a statistical oddity. Like that's the 1% that happens every once in a while to try to make it seem like it's not like that, and so that the racists can use that as the, oh well, what you're
right,
saying isn't true because we just had this on. Okay, but how about the 50 more before that were all right? So
right,
knowing that, I know that that's a major playing reason as into why you want to give a voice, because of how much more are without.
right, right. And people need voices. I would love to open my own PI firm one day. That's something that I would really love to do. Um, or even like if I ever decide, because like the sky's the limit. I need to stop um, putting restraints on myself because I'm the only person putting restraints on myself. But if I decide to go to law school, I don't hate going to school. I do love learning things. I like the knowledge. I like doing discussions. I prefer to do it in class things. I don't really like online. I learn better in class. I do better when, I don't know, like, I don't want everything to be open book. I want you to test me. I want you to not put the answers in front of me. I want you to make me remember the answers. I want to write those fucking notes down. I want to have a book in my hand and have it in my hand. You know what I mean? I really want to take something from going to school, because once I'm in the fucking field, nobody's going to be nice to me. But also at the same time, I doubt that as a paralegal in any fucking field, anybody's going to be like, do you know the fucking background of Sir Robert Peel?
No,
Do you know that he
yeah, because
made the
a lot of the time you end up just being like a clerk, even. So it's really a lot of the times from like the paralegal, like the people that I've known that have actually like gone that far or whatever. That's why they really never went any further, because they were like, oh, it's just clerk work. And a lot of the time, like it's clerical. So
right,
like, yeah,
right,
you have a little bit more like, what is the word, like clearance for stuff. Like obviously, like a real actual titled clerk probably can't access the same stuff as someone with a paralegal title could. But in the end, like it's not like you can actually like go into a courtroom and all of a sudden start defending somebody. Like as a
right,
paralegal,
right,
you still need to then gain the knowledge to move up. So, but that's what's good about being a paralegal, is it doesn't set you like the way you said. You could become a paralegal at an injury law firm and then still take that and go to a criminal law firm, because paralegal is
right.
paralegal regardless of where you go.
Well, I may have to have some type of certificate for criminal because I've
Depending
taken
on the
criminal law
company. Yeah.
before. Right. Because I have taken criminal law before. So they may want me to take a little more. I don't know if having an associate's, I do want to still get my bachelor's. Like that is an end goal because I do want to get my bachelor's. I want to, because I want to make
I
more
feel like an
fucking money.
associate's is probably equal to a certification in that aspect because, like, since it's certification only
Right.
brings
But
you so far.
I only did it in criminal justice. So I'm just doing criminal justice right now. Like if I would have done what my original plan was criminal justice to the police academy trek, I would have taken completely different classes. Like I
Yeah.
mean completely different classes. I would have learned fingerprinting, which is what I wanted to do, but I didn't want to become a cop. So I needed to take my criminal justice classes or else I'd have to become a cop. Because if I took all those classes, it leads me to the police academy, and then I'm
Right.
accepted into the police academy, and then it's like and then I believe I'm at the police academy at my college, like they have a portion.
Right.
So I just didn't want to do it. I could probably still do it. I just got to work out a little bit, but I just don't want to become a cop. I feel like that's valid.
It is
I
valid.
do want to become. I wish that I could be a detective. I honestly do
Got to do
because
some Jessica Jones shit.
right. I do feel like so I feel like I figure shit out quickly. Feel like I notice small details. I feel like um I like when my mind or my brain needs to work. So like when puzzle pieces need to be put together, that's my jam. Like I love that shit. So I felt like my forever, like I'm always able to just put shit together or just be like, oh, that's what you were doing. Or like I used to annoy my ex-boyfriend because I'd be like, well, this is what you did today. And he'd be like, how the fuck do you even know that? I'm like, because it's all over the place. The evidence is everywhere. Like this is what you did. This is what you did. Like it's everywhere. So I don't know. It was always a passion of mine. I want to help people. I wish that I could help people for free. I wish I made enough money to just help people for free. I wish that I could just go to school, get what I needed, and then help people pro bono. But unfortunately, that is not the world we live in. So,
What is, if there's even one, what is a case that you've ever like heard of or read or like researched that like really stuck out to you where it's like this is the case that like haunts you a little bit?
so the JonBenet Ramsey case, I know that's so fucking cliche as shit. I know that's cliche as shit. But I feel like because of the evidence of possible sexual assault, possible male DNA in her underwear, not possible, there was male DNA in her
Also,
underwear.
why don't they break it down for viewers who may not be as aware of the case?
So basically, JonBenet Ramsey
This
was,
was
I
this
believe
was
she
a
was
famous
five and a
one,
half
so really
years,
this would be probably for
very
like younger
famous.
viewers that wouldn't know it,
Right,
but it always helps to
right,
get the information.
right. So JonBenet Ramsey, I believe she was 6 years old.
I believe
She
so,
was
yes.
murdered in her house the day after Christmas. So the Ramseys had gone out to a Christmas party that night, the night before on Christmas Day. Was this Christmas Day, Christmas Eve? Hold on, let me check. So they went on Christmas Day. They went to their friend Fleet's house, and that was Patsy and John's friend Pete. And they went to his house on Christmas Day. They were home by 9:30, in bed by 10. However, there was evidence left out that they had a snack that was pineapples and cream, one of JonBenet's favorite snacks. So she loved pineapples and cream, and they found that in her stomach. So
Right.
they found it was undigested, and they found that. So at some point after they put her to bed, she got up and had pineapples and cream, and the pineapples and cream was actually on they took pictures, so it was on the counter when the police were called at like 5
Right.
in the morning. So they go to bed at 10, and JonBenet's bedroom is on the opposite side of the house. So explain to me, so this is my perspective. I want to put my perspective. This is not what happened in the case, but I want to put my perspective in. So explain to me this. JonBenet is in a bedroom. she's across the house, but the house isn't huge where it's like so big that
Right.
if a screaming child like a child is screaming, you're not going to hear it. So you have to imagine there's no forced entry. There's no forced entry at all. So the suspect goes into JonBenet's bedroom. They have to incapacitate her. So there is blunt force trauma on her head, on her skull. And it did crack it, but it didn't. That wasn't the killing blow. The garrote on her throat was the killing blow. She was strangled. So she could have been incapacitated in her bed. The likelihood of that, I'm not sure. Slim, but she could have been incapacitated in her bed. But then the person would have had to take JonBenet out of her bedroom, take her into a car, wherever it is, and then come back to the house. Or they had to leave JonBenet incapacitated in her bed while they wrote a 3-page ransom note. I'm not talking about 1 paragraph, 3 paragraphs, 5 paragraphs, a 3-page ransom note. And they found 2 rough drafts that were 2 pages long. So a total of 7 pages were
That's
written.
crazy.
Not only were there 7 pages written, but there was 7 pages written on the Ramsey's notepad. So it was their pen and paper basically was what wrote the ransom note. Not only that, so you have to think this child is incapacitated. She's hit on the head, but if that wasn't the killing force, she's screaming at some point because she's going to wake up. There's 7 pages of fucking notes that you're
You know how
taking.
long
So
it takes
either
to handwrite 3 pages of note?
Thank you. And then that's 3 pages you got correct. That's the 3
Right,
pages
because there's
you did
still the
right.
other two rough drafts that were 4 pages.
Right. Right. So then she's either in the car, so you must have an accomplice, so you have to have a driver, so he must be in the car with her. So you left the house. There's no sign of forced entry, so you were able to get into the house and then leave the house and then come back in the house, all in and not being detected. Nobody is detecting anyone. And then you write the 7-page note and you leave it on. And not only do you write the 7-page note, but you leave the exact amount of JonBenet. His name is John. Yeah. John Ramsey. His exact Christmas bonus, which was $118,000. You add that as the ransom. We want $118,000.
I feel like if that was happening in a TV show, like it would be obvious. Like people would think that it was too cliche.
Right. And then she's found downstairs. So what happens is, and this is why I really like needed to put into perspective what being an investigator and how simply just one small decision, just the smallest decision could literally turn a case into nothing. So what happened was the responding detective, the homicide detective on the scene, he allowed the Ramseys to call people and have them come to the house. So they cleaned up the crime scene. Her friends started cleaning up. And instead of the investigator saying, no, we have
You
to
don't
secure
touch
this crime
anything at
scene.
all. So all the evidence is gone.
All the evidence is gone. So my theory, and then she was found. So then they start searching the house. They can't find her. And then her father goes downstairs and he finds her.
Of course.
Right. So it's after they start searching and they're like, we're going to search again. Like, what would make you think okay, me and you are husband and wife. Our daughter is missing. We have a ransom note that says that they want money. They said, don't contact the police. We contacted the police. They said that if we contacted the police, they would kill her. We don't have our baby. Why would you search the house again? After searching the house once, but once the police get there, actual responding officers to actually search the house and make sure that there's nobody in there. So after that initial search, why did you search the house again? Why didn't you demand that they go outside and search? Why didn't you demand, why aren't you looking for my daughter? Why are you searching in my house? Look outside. My daughter is outside. You looked in the house and you found her. You knew exactly where to look and you found her. So my theory is what happened is that JonBenet snuck down or snuck out. She heard people talking in the kitchen because her room was on the opposite side of the kitchen. She heard everybody talking and commotioning in the kitchen. They were having their favorite cream and pineapples. And I believe that she came through the kitchen and she took some of her brother's pineapple. And I think what happened was he got angry and there was a flashlight, a very heavy flashlight on the table. It ended up getting moved. But I believe that the brother hit her with the flashlight. I also believe that she was being sexually molested by her father. So I believe that she had already been molested. So they have male DNA. So I don't know if it was her father or if there was something more going on. I was trying to connect them to the Epstein stuff. There was like some talk about it, but I couldn't connect the dots. There was like some speculation and some shit, but I couldn't find concrete evidence. So I don't want to really mention that because I don't have the concrete evidence. But I do believe because she was a pageant child, because she was so sexualized at such a young age, and because, again, there was male DNA.
We also know what those pageants really were about.
Right. So since we know this stuff, I feel that
you probably wouldn't be wrong. I mean, because it's what's really disgustingly crazy about it is how much everything connects back to that, even including microtransactions in Call of Duty to make boys want to spend money on gambling,
right,
and play violent video games and earn better weapons to kill faster and kill better. Like that's in there. So every single facet of our society that has been designed to target children probably came from there. So yes, I would say pageants.
Right.
I would say the highly addictive mobile games, the super expensive. Now how it's super expensive for these consoles and video games. Now, I mean, video games, I'm seeing price tags up to like $80 sometimes for a base game. Nothing extra is coming with it. But all of that connects. So when you're looking for the puzzle piece, you're looking now because of how much it all connects. It's like looking at one puzzle, like a puzzle piece for one puzzle that somehow magically connects to 17,000 other puzzles. And now you're like, well, wait, that can't all connect. It probably does. It probably does. I mean, they've been running everything behind the scenes now for decades. Everything.
Right.
So knowing that she was a pageant child, pure evidence, physical, actual evidence of male DNA in her underwear and stuff. Like,
so what I think happened is that during the family dinner, whatever the dinner, they went to the Fleet guy's house. I believe that she was sexually assaulted there because Patsy and her husband were wearing the exact same clothes that they wore to the dinner party. They never changed out of it, which is also weird to me because if you're going to sleep and you're not panicking over your dead child, wouldn't you change out of your fucking clothes and go into pajamas? And then wouldn't you take your child?
The parents were still dressed?
The parents were still dressed in the same outfit they wore the night before.
And so they went to bed at 10 and this was discovered at what time? Like 5 in the morning?
Like 4 something, 5 in the morning.
How much longer did you stay up still wearing the same clothes? No matter what, even if you stayed awake, you're right. Why would you not change into your pajamas?
Unless of course you're panicking over your dead child.
Right.
Unless of course her brother accidentally hit her so fucking hard in the head that it incapacitated her. And
then they had no choice but to fucking strangle her instead of taking her to the hospital and being like, accident.
She still had male DNA in her underwear. I wonder if they panicked.
That's actually then because that was found on her body after she was deceased.
That was found in her underwear, and I believe they found abrasions in her vagina.
Right. So yeah, because obviously if the hospital goes and fucking checks her out, they're gonna find that.
Right.
And then they're gonna test it.
Exactly.
So can't take her to the hospital. Might as well just
and now
finish
she's
her off.
speaking. Now she's speaking because she can tell
you. A 6-year-old can talk, yeah.
Right. Instead of being like, oh, I can't find the match to this DNA because he's not in our database. She could be like, oh, well, this guy, it's really this guy.
Right.
He's a friend of the family. He was at the fucking Christmas party.
I mean, because listen to me, I couldn't shut the fuck up when I was only 2. So I know at 6, that girl is talking and kids say the darndest things.
And she's in pageants, so you know she's too grown. You know that she's
You
too
know
grown.
she has to talk because she has to give them fucking speeches of like, what do you want in the world and shit that they still even make the kids fucking go through. Like they even understand what that even is.
Exactly. So that's my theory. I believe that she was sexually assaulted the night before. I believe that when she got hit, they were afraid to take her to the hospital. They were afraid to call the police. So he strangled her. Because also, I don't
And that's crazy
know.
because like actual detectives couldn't like figure that out.
Right. 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 Well, this was also in the 90s when DNA was just becoming
Yeah.
available. So there wasn't really a
Yeah.
lot. And then I believe some of the DNA got destroyed.
Well, yeah,
So,
because of the cleanup and shit.
right. So that, but the, the fact that there was no forced entry, the fact that you have to logically think that a child would have to be incapacitated long enough, not dead, but incapacitated long enough to not start screaming once they become conscious from their wounds. Because once you wake up and your skull is fucking cracked, you're
Hurting. If you're a
screaming.
child, you're gonna be crying.
You're screaming because you don't even know what's going on. You don't know what's wrong. So you're going to fucking scream. So where is this child screaming? Is she screaming in her bedroom while you write 7 fucking pages? Oh, I fucked up on the first 4. Here's the last 3. Or are you having her outside screaming? It's Christmas. It's the dead of night. Why is she screaming? So like, and you don't think neighbors would hear that? You don't think a neighbor would hear blood curdling screams in the middle of the night? And when they found her, they said it was like around 4:35 in the morning, but her time of death was at, I believe, 1 a.m. So if her time of death was at 1 a.m., it would make so much more sense for the Ramseys to panic, to write this fucking things, because they only had 3 hours to do it. They fucked up. They were writing this in a panic. They were freaking the fuck out. They didn't know what to do. They called friends over. Like, I just feel like
Which
it's
is crazy
definitely
also because, all right, I get the DNA thing, but you couldn't figure out like their handwriting.
right. Well, they had a handwriting expert. They were leaning towards it being Patsy's handwriting, but there were some distinct things and differences, so they couldn't. It was like inconclusive. So not
Yeah,
really.
and I guess it's a different mental state,
But
so
it
you
was
wouldn't really be able
very
to like replicate
suspicious.
that. But yeah,
Right.
it also that sounds very suspicious, especially when you look at all the fucking evidence.
Right. I mean, another case that haunts me is definitely the O.J. Simpson case. That case drove me insane because they had enough DNA evidence, but because our country is such a piece of shit and we've treated Black people with such awfulness, and there was no reason why he was gonna be convicted as guilty. Like, that he was a famous Black man. He presented to the jury as if he loved Black people, even though he did not. Before, they admitted that before the jury came to OJ's house on Rockingham, before they came to his house, they took out all the pictures of all the white people OJ had pictures with, and then put pictures of all of like OJ's Black family and all of his family from, yeah. So they manipulated the jury. They made it seem, and they said that OJ wasn't taking his arthritis medicine. So when he put on the glove, his hand was inflamed. So that's why it didn't fit. He said he didn't have Bruno Mali shoes. They had pictures showing that he did. And they're very one of a kind type shoes. There's not many of
Right.
those at that time. You know what I mean? So it was just a lot. There was DNA evidence in the Bronco. There was DNA evidence in his house. They wanted to say Mark Furman was racist, which he was. He was a racist piece of shit. Don't fucking get me wrong. Racist piece of shit. He deserved everything he got.
Just to clarify.
However, if the evidence was there, like you found a glove here, you found a glove there, like you found the glove and even his fucking roommate, well, not roommate, but the guy he let stay on property, his name was Cato Kalin. Cato heard somebody come in and it sounded like a fucking hurricane, like not a hurricane, but like a slam, like an earthquake. There you go, fucking hurricane, an earthquake. So the guy thought it was an earthquake because it slammed and knocked like a lot of the stuff that was on the wall, like it made it shake. So he was like, I didn't know what the fuck it was. It was like a bang at this time of night. So, and then OJ had a cut on his finger. And then he wrote a fucking book called If I Did It. And detailed the entire thing. But in that chapter, because I did buy the book, because I needed to read it. I needed to know what the fuck it said. I was like, this motherfucker, I need to know. So I bought it. But I bought the audiobook of it. And the guy who fucking read it, whoever he is, sounds exactly like OJ, played it perfectly. So it literally sounded like I was listening to OJ Simpson. So I'm so sorry, this is going to be morbid, but I was listening to OJ Simpson do the deed.
Right.
But once he got to that chapter, it was like, now this is hypothetical. Like, just so you know, like this whole thing is hypothetical. But Charlie, this guy Charlie, came to my house and basically told me that my ex-wife was going out and she was being a whore in Cabo and she was doing all this stuff and sucking dick, and he got mad and he was gonna go and
But it's his ex-wife, so like she could do whatever she wants.
right. He was gonna serve her the riot act. So he was gonna go to Nicole's house, basically, one, to scare her, and two, to basically tell her that it was against their agreement on their custody that she could have men and just act like. But anyway, he went to go serve her, and not really serve her, but scare her and let her know. So he went to go to the house. He saw candles in the window, and he heard music. So he was like, "Oh, she about to get it on." So he's like looking through the thing.
Of course he was.
And then behind him, he hears somebody walk up on the pathway. So he like looks behind him, and then this man, Ron Goldman, is standing there. And he's like, "Well, who the fuck are you?" And the kid is like, "I'm Ron Goldman." And then he thinks that Ron is fucking Nicole. So he starts flipping out. So then Ron gets into a karate stance. Like he starts like I'm gonna defend myself. And then Nicole's that comes out because she hears the ruckus. She's like, "What the fuck is going on?" So then they start fighting. And then OJ pushes Nicole and she hits her head and falls to the ground.
Ooh.
So she's like kind of knocked out a little bit. And then Ron Goldman is like, "All right, well, now I'm going to fucking fight because now you just knocked down my friend." All Ron Goldman was trying to do was return glasses. Her mom, Juditha, something, I believe that's her name, Juditha, something like that. But her mom left her glasses at the restaurant that they had gone to that night. So he was literally just returning her mother's glasses. Like, she wasn't there to get fucked. He wasn't there to drink. He wasn't there for nothing but to return glasses. He was just being a nice kid. So OJ's like, "Oh, you think you're gonna fucking fight?" And they start squaring up, they start fighting, and then OJ says that he just blanks. So in the fucking book, it just says that he blanks and then comes to and is covered in blood, and he realizes
that's so convenient.
He realizes that the knife is in his hand and it's covered in blood, and then the guy Charlie that got him all upset is standing in the background like, "What the fuck did you do? What the fuck did you do?" And then he took off all of his clothes, but he left on his shoes and socks, or he didn't dispose of his socks. He got rid of all of his clothes, and told Charlie to get rid of it. And then he kept his socks because they found the DNA of Nicole on his socks.
That's
so, and like blood DNA, not just DNA, like, "Oh,
right,
my hair fell into your sock." No, like blood trace evidence of DNA. So, the guy Charlie was supposed to dispose of all of the clothing, and then OJ was like, "I'm gonna go back to my house. I have a flight to catch, so I'm gonna get ready." He saw the limo when he jumped over the fence. He went the back way. He jumped over the fence. A woman literally said she was a witness to him speeding away from Bundy, which is where Nicole lived. So she saw him because he almost hit her, and she was like, "It's OJ Simpson. I know who the fuck OJ Simpson is. He's a famous fucking, he was everywhere in the 90s. So she's like, "I know who the fuck he is." So she was like, "I saw him speeding away." And in the book, he talks about, like, he's being interviewed. Like, the book is him being interviewed by the author, by the ghostwriter. So he's being interviewed, and he was like, "Oh, I would have taken this way." Wait. No. I actually took this way because he didn't want to get caught.
right,
Because the way that he took was the way he originally said, which is the way he did take.
right.
And that's why his vehicle was parked on the side of the road the way that the book says that it was, because he went the opposite way of what he then said was in the book. So there's just a lot of things. And I feel like if the jury wasn't so angry about how we treat Black people, he really would have been convicted. But thankfully, he was convicted later of robbery because somebody was trying to sell his memorabilia, and then he held them at gunpoint in Las Vegas,
Screaming.
and then got robbery charges, and then I believe assault with a deadly weapon, because I think he pistol whipped the guy.
Of course he did. Because why not?
Yeah. So, but he got mad time in jail. He did get parole, and then now he's dead. So he died of cancer. But that is one case that really haunted me. The JonBenet case really haunted me. What is another case that really has kept me up at night? I kind of like cases that haven't been solved or closed. Like I feel like the Casey Anthony case, I'm a little sick of Casey Anthony. I don't feel like she should get any more publicity. Apparently she's in the fucking legal field now, and she's giving legal advice, which is absolutely fucking wild. I don't live that far from where, unfortunately, Kaylee was disposed of, which is so fucking sad. So
yeah, that story kept me up for so long.
Right, a couple years ago, I bought a little teddy bear and put it on her memorial, because they have like a little memorial for her that they keep up with, which I think is very nice. Laci Peterson, that one kind of, I remember that one when I was a kid. That one was crazy. I believe that he did it. I do believe that he did it. I just don't, like, there's evidence, but a lot of it is circumstantial evidence. And when you go off of circumstantial evidence, it's really hard to put together. Like in the JonBenet Ramsey case, the reason I was able to come up with all of that is because of logic. Like, logically speaking, would you think to fucking, like, logically speaking, like, how would this happen? How would this play out? Because it had to play out.
Well, all the evidence that you have, that is all their actual evidence. I mean, like, it seems like it would have been pretty cut and dry if that happened in today's time.
Honest to God. Because as a detective, did you not think, okay, well, then did you not hear your daughter? Did she not scream? When
I'm stuck on the detective letting them call people over to the house.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. How would you feel if you thought to yourself, there was somebody in my house? There was somebody in my house for hours writing a fucking ransom letter. How would you feel? How scared would you feel that they were in your kitchen writing this stuff?
Right.
You didn't hear nothing? They didn't burp, breathe, fart, nothing in 3 fucking hours? And not even 3 hours, because that's just the time of death to when you guys called the police. So it's not even 3 hours. So you have to think, in the time that they killed her, and then they had to kill her, because after they incapacitated her, they would have had to have taken her down to the basement, strangle her to death with a garrote, find a garrote, and kill her with it. They didn't come with any tools. No tools were came. So tonight I'm committing a murder, and I'm not prepared. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm prepared enough for you not to ever hear me. But I'm not prepared enough to bring my own ransom letter already pre-written. I'm not prepared enough to not need your notepad and pen. And where did I find your notepad and pen? How did I know where your notepad
without
and pen
making
were?
so much noise searching for it?
Right. So, like, it's just logic. It's just logic. You know,
his breast pocket.
Exactly.
Let me just write this down real quick.
So he didn't come prepared with anything. Didn't bring his own garrote. Didn't bring his own things. I don't even know how she was incapacitated, since he didn't. The suspect didn't have anything. They didn't have anything. They didn't even have a pen or paper. They didn't have a ransom note. So how did they have weapons or tools or anything to incapacitate her and do a significant blow to the head? Like, she had blunt force trauma. So there's enough blunt force that you cracked her skull. So where did you get the thing from? Was it from the flashlight that was on the kitchen table? Did you take it with you after you fucking hit her with it? And again, that's what I keep going back to. How did you get her out of the house without making any noise? You have to now carry a child, and dead weight is way different than just a child fucking lifting up. So now she's dead weight. She's passed the fuck out. This doesn't make sense. Like, none of it makes sense. So I think her brother hit her. It became a thing. I think she was sexually assaulted the night before. So they freaked the fuck out and they were like, no. And I don't think that she was sexually assaulted secretly. I think her parents knew about the sexual assault. I think that was a fucking thing. And I don't think that it was a one-time thing. So I believe that her parents knew about the sexual assault, and clearly that's why they freaked the fuck out. And then because she was incapacitated, I don't know how bad they thought the blow was. Maybe she had a seizure on the floor and they thought she was dying. And maybe John was like, okay, well, then I have to fucking strangle her. And then Patsy wrote the note. That's my theory. And then they were so stressed the fuck out. They didn't know what to do. They spent hours writing this note, 7 fucking pages, because you got to think it's going to be hours to write these notes. And it's front and back.
But then it was crazy. All these friends come over, and then not one of them was like, no, we actually shouldn't clean anything so the detectives can search.
Because do you not think that the friends weren't involved? Because I believe I would have to check the call record to see who they called first. If they called anybody else. Actually, let me do that real quick. See, this fucking case keeps me up at night because I just be, why did this happen? Tell me the exact timeline of this. Google be like, okay, here's an article on this. I'll be like, Google Scholar this. Tell me this. So her body was found at 1 p.m., but it's saying that the doctor was unable to pinpoint a time of death. But I feel like that's wrong because I feel like they said it was like 1 a.m. Well, anyway, even so, getting home at 9:30 p.m. and going to bed by 10, you have from 10 p.m. all the way to 5:56 a.m. or 5:54 a.m.
Right.
Well, it doesn't give their phone records. I don't know why. That's public record. But anyway, so I can't determine if they called anybody before they called the police, because that would also be very suspicious. Because why would you, like, the first thing, I'm not going to call you. I'm not going to call you first. You're my best friend. And I'm going to call you after. If something happens, I'm going to call you after. But if something happened to my child, I'm calling the police. If somebody left a fucking note, if somebody was like, I'm going to take I want $118,000. And that was the exact same number as my husband. Realistically, that means that you were stalking my family. You knew exactly what my husband got on the fucking Christmas bonus. So if you're trying to say that
if
this
you
is
weren't
literally
him or someone
else,
related to him that would know that.
Exactly. So again, we go back to the no forced entry. So when was this person in my house? Did he get in through the garage when we came in through the garage and parked the car? When we were all walking in and I was holding JonBenet and I was closing it and I walked inside and I closed the interior door. Did the garage go down and somebody sneak under? Like, what was it? What was it? You'd have to honestly think, if there's no forced entry, there's no signs of anything. How did somebody get into your house? Nobody can get into my place, and my place is a fucking studio. The door is right there and I only have a deadbolt, and nobody is getting into my house. So explain to me how somebody snuck into your child's house and there was no evidence. So they were that good to take your child out exactly where they came in? Or did they go back to where they came in and silently closed whatever the fuck they took, or replace whatever the fuck they broke?
Right.
Because you're going to have to break something. You're going to have to break a screen. Were there screens missing? There was a chair outside of the train room in the basement, but the window was already broken. Okay, so wait, hold on. I'm missing key details. However, the area that was broken was not big enough for anybody to go through. So if anybody was able to go through. So there was a white chair that was propped up, but there was no evidence. There was no
that's just to make it look like somebody came in from outside.
Right.
And
there was
didn't
no
think
footprints.
that you picked a window that nobody could actually fit through.
Right. And there was no footprints on the chair. So it was a white chair. So you don't think that there's going to be footprints of any type of anything? You're in Boulder, Colorado in December. You don't think there's going to be any type of anything? Dirt, mud, nothing? So even though I missed that tiny detail, it still doesn't
really change anything, especially because the window, you can't get in the window, right? The most you could have been doing is like spying through the window. But again, if there was no footprints found on the chair, that means nobody stood on it. And no criminal's going to think to wipe off a chair when they get off of it.
But like, I still don't understand if a person was getting in through a window. Say they could fit through the window. Say they're super fucking flexible and small, and they have rat tendencies, and they can fucking just slither through. Say that's a possibility. They got through the window. How are you getting the child out? And then how are you going back out through the window?
Right.
Because if there's evidence, I don't know. But anyway, that's a case that does keep me up at night. I do believe that her family 100% played a role in her death. I do 100% believe that her parents were trafficking her. 1000%. I believe that, because imagine getting a $118,000 bonus. That's mad money in the 90s. You got mad money. So you're a rich, prominent family living in a rich, prominent neighborhood. Who gets kidnapped? How did they know to target you? Why are they targeting you? How do they know that your child is famous unless they're stalking you, unless they know you? Like, pageant kids are pageant kids. You know how many fucking pageant kids are out today that we don't fucking know who they are?
Because I have no interest.
We had no idea who JonBenet Ramsey was before her murder. We had zero idea.
Yeah.
Maybe she was a little famous around Colorado, but we had zero idea. It wasn't like she was a global sensation. Nowadays, you know, with TikTok and shit, it would be different.
Nowadays, that's what I'm saying. Nowadays, that wouldn't even be possible. See, and it's funny because, like, there's another one that actually, this one haunts me a little bit. Was the little girl actor that played Ducky, and her dad murdered her because she got famous. Like, he was jealous. Bro, that's your kid. Like, what?
What was his name?
And she was the girl from All Dogs Go to Heaven. Right.
I was just gonna say that. What's his name? The guy who played Charlie. He's famous as fuck.
Is that not Burt Reynolds?
Burt Reynolds. There you go. He had to redo.
Yes.
And
he couldn't get through it. They like the camera people almost could. Nobody could get through it because they're literally saying goodbye to her, and she was murdered.
Horrible.
And yeah, I think she got to be Ducky in like 2, maybe 3 movies, and then that one, and then like and then that was it. Yeah, I was devastated. I was devastated because I grew up watching The Land Before Time, and All Dogs Go to Heaven was my jam. I used to watch that movie all the fucking time.
Was my jam.
But it's crazy, actually, even about that, how many famous people do get targeted and killed. Because like I'll still I wrote something about Christina Grimmie.
Oh my god.
That one, I'm literally like, do not approach famous people.
That was also in Orlando.
Don't approach them. Don't approach famous people. Yell from a distance. Hi, I love you. I love your work. Bye.
Right, because they're humans. And you
go running and screaming up to them. Like, what is wrong with you? Have some decorum.
If I ever do make it to South Korea, which I really hope that I do, if I ever make it there, if I ever did see straight, because apparently they're not very popular in Korea, which I can't understand why. So nobody fucking recognizes them. So they just be walking out. And Bang Chen has said, if I ever see you out, as long as you don't take photos of me or like do anything like that, I'll greet you. I'll say hello to you. So if that ever happened to me, I wouldn't even be able to breathe. I would just be like, I don't want to bother you. You're not on the clock, because I'd be goddamn if one of my clients saw me on the street and was like, so this happened this weekend, and I was wondering if you'd be able to send me over a retainer. I'd be like, bitch, am I on the clock?
Just have a tiny little thing real quick for them to just sign.
Do you have access to your email real fast? I just want the retainer signed real fast. You can send it through DocuSign. Like, am I on the clock? No, I'm not. Okay, so please do not approach me. And then I feel like that's the same as celebrities. Like, I get that their fans help them rise up and that's how they got their money, but you also have to put in perspective, they're fucking humans. And if I became famous, do you know how much I don't like people? If somebody came up and screamed at me, I'd be like, do you want to die? Because I will.
Right, because now I'd have to go viral for crashing out on telling you how to act in public.
Right, because
because I'm not about to have you come running up to me and then all of a sudden you're fucking stabbing me because you're a fucking crazy person.
Or you're shooting me because she got shot.
Yes. And isn't it that she like went over to like hug them or something because they like seemed like a little withdrawn, and she went over to hug them and then they shoot her because they were a fan? What is wrong with you?
And apparently he was obsessed with her. So what is crazy to me is why would you want to take her life? And then you killed
Someone
yourself. So
literally,
now
the
you're
guy
not
that tried
even.
to assassinate Reagan to impress like Jodie Foster or whatever. Like, it's just really crazy when you really break it down into the minds of some of these type of like criminals that become like stalkers and like obsessed. And it's like this circles back to one of, I believe we've brought this up in other videos about how mental health is such a fucking crisis that if we had more mental health resources, yes, we did bring it up in our trauma shit. Like if there was more mental health resources for people to just freely take advantage of the trajectory of so many different people's lives, that would just be so different because you were getting the help you needed when you had these thoughts in your brain saying, I need to kill this person because of whatever fucking crazy reason your brain is telling you.
Like the fucking
Not everyone is
Manson
obviously going to take advantage of those resources, but I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that will, especially the ones that actually feel like they're ill. Like the ones that will be like, oh, God is telling me I have to sacrifice these people to them and I don't know what to do or else it's going to kill my family. Like, you need help. You need mental help. And it's not a problem or a crime for you to need mental help. It'll be a crime if you act on those impulses.
And then you're going to jail. You're going
So now
to
your life is
jail. So
ruined.
like, right.
Because once you're in jail for longer than a decade, I think that's the way we progress as society is too much with our prison system to actually integrate you back. There are other countries that their prison systems are actually designed as small little towns, and each person's like cell is like an apartment that then they also come in with rehabilitators to teach them how to actually get back into society. They have to farm. They have to work on farms because if they don't work on those farms, they are not having food. They have to work with each other to build stuff when shit goes wrong, or else it is not getting fixed. And it's a prison still. So you still have to go through your sentence. You still have to go through whatever it is in a prison that they force you. Like, you know, you have this limited time of free time. You have this limited time. It's time to eat. You know, stuff like that. But then they actually have a success rate on getting prisoners to integrate back into society that obviously aren't just a person that's like, no, I like killing just because I like the way a knife feels going into a body. You're not going back into society.
And the recidivism rate is much lower than in our country. The first 5 years of an inmate being discharged, I believe it's like over a 50%. Over 50% of people who are discharged within the first 5 years are back in because
they don't even know how to get back into society.
Because
and then so many jobs don't hire anybody with a record, so now they can't get work, so they have to resort back to crime.
You can't vote if you have a felony, so you can't vote if you have a. How did Trump vote?
Because he definitely voted with mail-in ballot. I'm pretty sure the law still applies to that.
Because no man is above the law. That's literally
well,
in the Constitution.
Not anymore. So we're doing whatever the fuck we want anymore at this point, because what is this actually? How are we talking about criminal justice in this shit? And we literally have a president that's literally a fucking criminal just getting away with all of this fucking shit. If y'all don't get your shit together, America, I am talking to you.
I am talking to you, America.
Because listen, the moment, and I know that the revolution will not be televised, so I know there's stuff out there happening because I do be following and I do be trying to stay informed and shit. But it's not us marching through the streets holding painted signs saying we don't like this isn't going to do anything, because we do it for one day, like a month,
but
and then everything goes back to normal.
That's what they're trying not to do. So they want us to be violent so they can incite an insurrection, so they can prove martial law, and they could just invoke it and be like, well, now you don't get a midterm. Now you don't get anything. I don't think anybody wants to do anything violent until after the midterms.
They already are, though, because they're already still fighting in Minnesota and other states. Like I said, that's why I just said the revolution will not be televised, because if you actually look at some of the local news from a lot of these states, a lot of states are rising up and actively fighting back against ICE, like actively fighting back. And he still hasn't done that because he knows that he can't just do that. That's the problem. So yes, now is the time to fight back, because if we're fighting back and then you invoke martial law, bitch, we're already fighting back. What the fuck do we care about that? Okay. Our soldiers
I'm
already
crying.
aren't listening to you anyway because you're doing an illegal war in Iran. You're literally unconstitutional. So yes, when you invoke martial law, we're already not going to give a fuck if we're already fighting back. That's the point. That's what
very
that, and
true.
that's why it's like I understand the double head of the coin. Like, okay, if we do this, then this happens. Okay, but also if we do this, we also have a chance of routing the government and ousting them and making the society the way we want to be. If we wait too long, then there are no midterms anyway because he's already trying to cancel that. And no, that's why I'm like, if we're already destroying the economy, destroying everything to the point of this, what is it actually going to take before we really are just like enough is enough? You can go.
Right. Politics are insane. I was always interested in criminal justice and the Constitution and abiding by the Constitution and the fact that we have Bill of Rights, the fact that we have amendments that protect us, that we have provisions and they've changed it to make sure like I have the right to vote because of the Constitution. Like people
It's
of
just so
color have the
crazy
right to
because
vote.
like you think like who if anybody could just take the seat of power and disregard the Constitution and international law, and they're supposed to be able to uphold that stuff, and they're not upholding it, then what actually was the point of it all to begin with?
But what's crazy is that nobody before him has been this tyrannical.
Right.
This bad.
So because and after the first few bits of it, it shouldn't have even gotten this far. The moment that something unconstitutional was done, it already should have been. I mean, the 34 count felonies already should have been a fucking dead giveaway.
For Nixon, the Watergate thing, like Nixon fucked everything up. And then I believe they impeached him for that. Oh, he wasn't. He was not impeached for Watergate. But they did approve 3 articles of impeachment for Nixon because he was such a piece of shit. But either way, he was impeached. The people were like, you are fucking everything up. We don't trust you. It might not have been the direct reason, but he lost the faith of society, of the community. And this is exactly what happens. The MAGA is starting to turn on him, which I'm sorry, but I'm using you as human shield.
Yeah, you ain't on my side. I don't give a fuck you're against him. You ain't on my side. So
but
so yeah, that is Madam Red's true crime passion. A little bit of into that, why she wanted to, what she feels about it, how she thinks about it. It's very in-depth.
If I had actual notes, I do apologize. I did not have all of my notes. All of the things that I told you about these cases, any of the details that I just told you were all from memory, except the times that I actually Googled it. Like, so everything has just been from memory. It's
and that's
accurate,
why she's a true crime passion.
But yes, so everything has been from memory. So I'm learning about cases in school. I'm learning about cases in class. So I didn't like forget things, but I did forget that thing about the JonBenet, the fucking chair. Cause I was like, wait, I didn't forget it because then I remembered it and was like, wait, there was a chair. And then I was like, am I confusing my cases? But I wasn't. I did remember the chair. But if I had my notes in front of me, I would have been able to tell you precisely exactly what happened. I would have Googled well beforehand the fucking timeline, the fucking phone records. The JonBenet Ramsey case, just, I can't get enough of it. I just want to solve it. Patsy's dead. John's going to die soon. The fucking son is creepy as shit. He was on Dr. Phil smiling like a fucking weirdo the whole entire interview. So that's something that I would love to solve. I'm probably never going to become a detective unless you see me being a cop. And if you do, shut your fucking mouth. I didn't want to do it. Okay. Because a homicide detective makes way more than a crime scene investigator. So I could do homicide. That would justify me going to school. And I would start off as a better cop because I have a degree. But the sky's the limit. You know, I figure it out when I graduate. Once I get my diploma and I figure my shit out and I have my certificate, then we'll see from there. Do I want to continue? Do I want to do this? Do I want to do that? I'm young enough that I can run still. So as long as my knees is still working, the sky's the fucking limit. But thank you for listening to me rant. I'm so sorry. It would probably be annoying for me to be a detective because I'd be so fucking ADHD. They were like, God damn, can you get to the fucking point? But I will get to the point, you know? I will get there. You just got to listen to the journey. Okay, goodbye.
Until next time, Bud-ettes, make sure you like, share, subscribe, all that good shit. Love y'all.
Love you.